Smoak.
If you have not heard discussion about concussions, the NFL, and not just the NFL, but around football in general and life in general, then you haven't been paying attention or you've been under a rock for a long, long time. Drew Pittman, 29-year-old, he wishes, right? 29-year veteran NFL agent, and also Dr. Greg Eckert, who's a dentist as well, are the co-founders of Brain Vault. And both of them join us now on Zoom, Dr. Eckert and also Drew Pittman. We appreciate their time. So how did all this come together? Drew, is this a part of what you represent as players? And Greg, because of what you do with dentistry and knowing and seeing the damages?
Hey, Smoak, good to be with you, man. It's been a while since I've seen you. And, hey, how great is Mike Singletary, huh?
Oh, yeah, he was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
He's awesome. Well, as you know, Smoak, I've been an agent for 29 years. I wish I was 29 years old, but that's not the case. And so it's been really personal for me. Because of having clients who have suffered the effects of concussion and brain injury and, just some of the things that happen, not necessarily while they're playing, but, years after. And so it was a passion project for me. I was interested in finding something that would help the players, and was introduced to Dr. Eckert and 14 years ago. We've been at this a long time, and he's probably one of the smartest guys I know, and he was on to something, and he shared it with me, and we got the ball rolling. And it's been interesting because it's been a little harder than what you would expect. You would think when you have something that you can prove scientifically can mitigate concussion and help reduce the risk of concussion, that everybody would be jumping on it. But from the NFL to just everyday people, we've been at it hard, and we're getting the word out.
Dr. Eckert, most people wouldn't even think about a mouth guard, even though your mouth is certainly part of your head, when you are talking about concussions. Most people think It's got to be a helmet, and there are helmets that are out now that are, making those steps and preventing concussions, but they are thousands of dollars. I mean, and for a youth football player or high school, that's kind of out of the range. Where did it come about, doing the research on what a mouth guard can do, and what is the science behind what a mouth guard can do to prevent and mitigate concussions?
Right. So it all really is relative to how your lower jaw position really affects the strength of your neck. It's irrefutable that neck strength is probably the most important first-line defense against concussion. That's why all kids nowadays are doing something to train to make their neck stronger. What I know from my background in treating patients that have headache, neck ache, jaw joint problems for 25 years is that when I put the jaw in the right position and I take an x-ray of their neck, the bones in their neck realign as they ought to, and their pain goes away. So what we did was we kind of spun that recipe of aligning the jaw to align the neck to relieve pain in a pain patient, TMJ, TMD patient, and use a different delivery device called a mouth guard. We intentionally put the jaw in a position that will then subsequently align the neck, because muscles are attached to the bones in our neck. When we align the bones of the neck, the muscles are aligned together. Therefore, they will exert more force when recruited to do so. It's something that we theorized. We were in the league working with players for years, trying to do things like make heads rotate better, shoulders rotate better, knee pain go away, because we knew we had great control over head position with our jaw alignment IP. And in 2018, when we were up in Chicago working with the Bears, the GM began to talk to us a lot about concussion. And that really is where our heart lies. What I know is that as we close our jaw, it's the last 2 to 3 millimeters that the jaw really gets off track. So if we can design something like a mouth guard that prevents the jaw from getting off track, we maintain good jaw alignment, neck alignment, muscle position. Therefore, when we brace for impact, we can really recruit those muscles to stabilize the head, to prevent the head from accelerating too quickly, which is really the problem in concussion. It's not a contusion of the brain like we used to think, where you get a hit and football and your brain bounces against the inside of your skull and you get a bruise there. That's really not what's going on. What's going on is we have two hemispheres, right and left of our brain. They're connected together in the center by what we call the corpus callosum. And that basically is the hardwiring that allows the right and the left brain to communicate with one another. And in a collision that causes traumatic brain injury or, the knockout blow concussion, what happens is we stretch that nerve tissue to the degree that it can transmit data. It basically makes the brain glitch. And if it glitches bad enough, you get knocked out. It may not glitch bad enough for you to be knocked out, but it can create trauma within the brain that is kind of insidious and basically undetectable on the sidelines when we do our concussion protocols, because lots of times it's the repetitive blows that can lead to the traumatic brain injury that might prevent a youthful brain from developing properly, or like me when I was playing football in college and, wasn't looking for the cornerback to come and I got hit in the jaw and didn't get knocked out, but I got a traumatic brain injury that led me to have brain fog for weeks. I didn't know this at the time. This is all me deconstructing it in the past, but that's what we're trying to prevent is brain trauma. And the best way to do it is to slow the head down a little bit. And it's irrefutable that neck strength really is the key.
And also one of the things I mentioned, Drew, on this, and this is something I'm sure you've seen in the agent game and just being youth and all the way up and watching it, these helmets I mentioned before, they're great stuff, but they're really expensive. When you have a mouth guard, even an expensive mouth guard, that's a price point that school districts or individuals can handle more than buying a $1,500 helmet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's one of our core values is we wanted to be able to bring safety, the mitigation of concussion to everybody from regardless of age, regardless of level of ability. A lot of times the NFL guys are the guys that get the best equipment, but we wanted to make this at a price point where really anybody could get it. And yeah, it's if you think of it as a mouth guard, it's an expensive mouth guard, but what it is the technology, and the technology is just delivered through the mouth guard. And so, yeah, we're excited about it. Greg talked about concussion being an acceleration issue, and to decrease acceleration, you have to either change velocity or time. And a helmet might be able to change time just a little bit. Think of a car bumper. It reduces the amount of time or extends the amount of time. And a helmet might be able to do that. But the airbag is really the thing that decreases velocity. And so we like to think of Brain Vault as being like the airbag for sports.
Drew Pittman and Dr. Eckert with us on SicEm365 Radio. Drew, you know this, especially as an NFL agent, and Greg, you followed it. We all have that. Man, I tell you what, it took a long time. It took a lot of lawsuits or a lot of evidence and a lot of hearings or whatever for this. Did you find that there was anyone that was like trying to slow this down, or did everybody open it up in arms because it's about safety?
Yeah, I think it was, sorry, Greg. I think it was a little bit of both. There's a lot of people, these guys at NFL teams, they care about their players. They do. But they also, it's like any big ship, it takes a long time to turn it around. And and we'll just address from the time of the lawsuits being settled and not worry about the time before that. But it's Greg and I have spent a lot of time talking to team people, and we even had the opportunity to talk to Dr. Robert Cantu, who's the executive director of the Concussion Legacy Foundation, and he's like the go-to guy for the NFL, and really he's the foremost concussion doctor in the United States. And we had the opportunity to talk to Dr. Cantu and explain to him what we were talking about. And it was really cool because Greg's sitting here talking to Dr. Cantu and telling him things that Dr. Cantu didn't know. And as we explained it to him, he was like, wow, this really makes sense. We sent him some of our research and some of the science and had a follow-up call with him. And his comment was, you guys are on to something. He said, y'all keep going. He said this, in fact, his comment, Greg, you remember, was we need to get you on the next meeting of the NFL Head, Neck, and Spine Committee. So it's pretty cool when you find something, and I say it was Greg that found it, that is so groundbreaking that the number one guy in concussion in the United States tells you you're on to something and tells you to keep going, and he's excited about it.
Yeah, he published a study that came out 4 years ago. It was a 2-year retrospective study. It was 6,700 high school kids, men, women, boys, girls, all different sports. The conclusion of the study was that if you increase neck strength by 1 pound, you decrease your probability of getting a concussion by 5%. And, on testing of our IP and also of our product testing, we found on average that we can increase neck strength up to 17 pounds. We're not saying we can prevent concussion, but we can certainly put you in a better position to deal with that blow. And we like to say mitigate, because no one can promise to prevent anything, but we certainly can put you in a better position to take a blow or to deliver one.
What are the results so far that you have seen or heard from those who have tried or used your device?
Yeah, we had roughly 100 NFL players that used the device, and there was not one single reported concussion. Greg and I were up at the combine a couple of years ago when we ran into a player who had a history of concussion, and he was now in coaching, and we saw him and said, hey, tell us what your experience was. And he was like, oh my gosh, you probably extended my career another couple of years. And so, the experience has been great. Obviously, in the science world, they want to see testing. So Greg's heading up the testing. We're doing another study here and probably around the end of the month. And using a high school football team, we're not disclosing who we're using, but using some high school football players. And a major university has picked it up, and they're doing an IRB study around it. So it's pretty groundbreaking. We'll have the science as well as just the actual people who have used it and had great results.
Yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I did. Our heart's always been in concussion. I know when we first got into this together, that's really where Drew and I really wanted to go. We had a couple of meetings with a GM in the NFL, and at that time, this was before the settlement and all occurred. We were encouraged to go the route of performance, and so we had lots of anecdotal information, data, measurements of shoulders rotating better, like I said, but in 2018, when things changed, that's when we knew we needed to instead of doing custom work, we needed to go develop a way to deliver this to the masses. I went into healthcare to help people, and honestly, I'm a dentist, so my 10 fingers really limit my ability to help people. But helping people in this concussion arena is huge. And we knew that we needed objective data. That's why we kind of stopped and refocused and said, okay, the performance stuff is cool and it's sexy, but the reality is we want to help mitigate concussion. We want to hang our hat on that. That's how we can help the most people. So that's why we set about designing these studies, testing our theories to prove what we had, so that instead of going and talking to somebody and going, subjective things that they tell us, we have objective data to show that we can make necks stronger, and we can make them stronger immediately. And all you have to do is put a mouth guard in your mouth that has our IP built into it, and immediately you've got a stronger neck, which puts you in a better position to win.
Would you recommend this, Dr. Eckert, for other sports like basketball or things where there are collisions, but it's not like football collisions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the highest concussion rate that there is in female soccer. So yes, I recommend it. Like Drew says, I think anywhere you chase a base, a ball, or what was it, Drew?
Baseball or a goal.
Baseball or a goal, I think you need to wear it, because collisions occur. Yeah.
And Smoak, I don't know, Paul, you guys, if you saw, I posted something yesterday. I am a soccer guy too. I played soccer at SMU in college, and I was watching the Euro Championships yesterday, and there was a massive collision between a Ukrainian player and a Dutch player, and their heads did not collide, but both of them were knocked out of the game. And it was a great example. I actually posted on the Brain Vault CMT be on both Twitter and Instagram. And anybody that's listening wants to go watch that. And you see the force that happens. And it's what Greg was talking about, where there's not the contusion, but it's the shearing that goes on in the brain that's so dangerous. And you guys know me. I have two boys there at Baylor, and Greg is a father of three sons that are playing everything, and so it's very personal to us because we had to weigh the fear of what could happen playing sports versus the benefits. And obviously, we love the game of football. We love the other sports as well. We had some players here in Salado wearing a brain vault during the basketball season this year. And, we understand how parents feel, and we understand that there's fear of for their kids to get concussions playing sports. And when you're a parent and you're sitting in the stands and you're watching your child play, you want to enjoy it. And you don't want to be just constantly worried. And so hopefully this gives parents a little bit of peace and a little bit more joy watching their kids play sports.
It's amazing. The cost of it, first of all, go to brainvault.com, just like the two words combined.com. There's also on Twitter at BrainVaultCMT. If you want to follow Dr. Eckert and Drew, obviously Pittman, it's at DP NFL Agent on Twitter as well. I believe the cost of the device is $175, give or take. Let me know if that's right or wrong. But also, if you use the code SMOAK, SMOAK 25, you get a $25 discount off the device. Is that correct, Drew?
That is correct. Yeah, my Twitter is actually DP Football Agent.
Sorry.
We're pre-selling right now. We'll have product in shipping hopefully around the end of this month, and we're really excited to get these in the mouths of kids and just take a little bit of the pressure off the parents being able to watch their kids play.
No question about it. Of course, Lane, has helped with so much. Coach Taff is a part of this as a partner, I believe, as well, or a part of the company. Of course, what he represents as a man and all he does as well with what he's learned as the AFCA executive director. Anything else you guys want to add to what we've said?
Greg?
I just appreciate you all putting us on here today. We feel like we're sitting on top of a secret that we just have to get out. I feel like it's our life mission. I feel like it's what we're really put on this planet to do. I feel like the reason I was intended to be a dentist was so that I could do this. So I really appreciate you letting us come on the air, talk to your listeners about how to protect their kids. It's a simple thing that we're already using in our sports system. It's a mouth guard. It's just a special mouth guard with our IP built into it to make the kids safer when they play. And I know the price is $175. I appreciate you mentioning that. But also, it's made with a material that I think if you take care of this device, it literally could be the last mouth guard you buy. It literally could. You can refit this mouth guard up to 1,000 times. The overmold material we're using is very durable. So it's not a one and done thing. Yeah, you got to take care of it, but it could literally last you through your high school career.
Info@brainvault.com is an email address as well. I want to throw that in there for brainvault.com. Drew?
And I'm happy to visit with anybody. Greg's happy to visit with anybody. We can explain more. We're just a couple of regular guys. We're dads and husbands, and we care about kids, and we want to help. And so anybody that wants to visit with us, you can get in touch with us at that info@BrainVault, and Greg and/or I will get back in touch with you.
Dr. Greg Eckert, again, a dentist, and also Drew Pittman, 29-year NFL agent, with us from brainvault.com. Thank you very much, both of you. Good luck with what you're doing the rest of the way and helping prevent this completely if we possibly can. You're not guaranteeing 100%, but you're guaranteeing there's an opportunity here to make a difference with concussions. Thank you again, Dr. Eckert and Drew Pittman. When we come back,